became of the most intelligent student in your class? David Chen joined our high school as a freshman when the rest of us were juniors. He'd skipped second grade and then eighth grade, so at 14, he was taking classes with 16 and 17-year-olds. Most kids in that situation would have had a rough time socially, but David just kind of rolled with it. He was quiet but not awkward, friendly without trying too hard. The first time I really noticed him was in AP Chemistry. Our teacher, Mr. Harrison, had put this brutal problem on the board that none of us could figure out. We'd been staring at it for like 10 minutes, throwing out wrong answers, and Mr. Harrison was clearly enjoying watching us struggle. Then David raised his hand and walked through the solution step by step, explaining it so clearly that even I understood it, and I was barely pulling a B- in that class. That became the pattern. David was just operating on a different level than the rest of us. He took every AP class the school offered: Calculus BC, Physics C, English Literature, US History, all of it. He was also in the full International Baccalaureate program, which meant even more rigorous coursework, and this extended essay thing that everyone else complained about constantly. On top of that, he was first chair violin in the school orchestra and played with the youth symphony downtown on weekends. The crazy thing was that he never seemed stressed about any of it. I'd see him in the cafeteria doing homework between bites of his sandwich, or in the library during free period working on his IB extended essay about something related to quantum mechanics that I didn't understand. He'd show up to orchestra practice and just nail whatever piece they were working on. During AP exam season, when the rest of us were losing our minds, David would just shrug and say he'd studied a little bit the night before. Colleges were basically throwing themselves at him by senior year. Well, his senior year, our super senior year since some of us had to do an extra semester. Harvard sent a recruiter. MIT called his house. Stanford offered him a full ride before he'd even finished his application. The guidance counselor told anyone who'd listen that David was the most accomplished student she'd seen in 23 years of working at the school. Everyone assumed he'd go into something intense: medical research, theoretical physics, computer science at some elite tech company. He had that kind of brain. The kind that could solve problems the rest of us couldn't even understand. There were already rumors about him publishing a paper in some scientific journal while he was still in high school, though I never confirmed if that was actually true. He ended up at Stanford, full scholarship, everything paid for. We lost touch after graduation like you do with most high school people, but I'd see his name pop up occasionally on social media. Photos from campus, posts about difficult exams, the usual college stuff. Then he kind of disappeared from social media for a few years. About 5 years ago, I was reading sports articles online, trying to get caught up on baseball spring training, and I saw his name in the byline, David Chen. I clicked on his profile to make sure it was the same guy, and it was. He was writing for a mid-sized sports website, covering college basketball and minor league baseball mostly. His articles were really good, detailed, well-researched, but also fun to read. He had this way of explaining complex strategies that made sense to casual fans. I sent him a message congratulating him, asking how he'd ended up in sports writing. He wrote back pretty quickly and said he'd finished his degree in physics at Stanford, started a PhD program, and then realized halfway through his first year that he was miserable. He'd always loved sports, used to go to games with his dad growing up, and he'd been writing a blog about baseball statistics just for fun. Someone at a website had noticed his work and offered him a job. He dropped out of the PhD program and never looked back. Last I checked, he's still writing. He moved to a bigger publication, covers Major League Baseball now, travels to different stadiums during the season. His social media is full of photos from press boxes and random ballparks around the country. He looks genuinely happy in every single picture, way happier than any of those photos from high school, where he was holding academic awards or standing with his violin. The smartest kid in our class turned out to be smart enough to know what would actually make him happy, and it wasn't what any of us expected.